Chapter 1. You are listening at FameTV.info. Ah, ow. Several screams echoed in the cave for a long time, which was creepy. Qi Zhuahao and Hong Tianlei struggled to get up from the ground and endured the severe pain. Qi Zhuahao scolded. Hong Tianlei, you son of a bitch. I have long said that stealing tombs can /t be done, but you don't /t listen. Now I fall into this cave and I am completely killed by you. Qi Zhuahao is a senior 3 student in Hechi City, Dadi City, China. He has been an orphan since childhood and needs the help of kind people. He works part-time and studies part-time. He looks forward to being admitted to a good university. Not to mention getting rid of mediocrity and suffering. At least he can get enough food and clothing after graduation. The college entrance examination is approaching. Qi Zhuahao plans to go out to relax and adjust his mind, but he meets his childhood playmate Hong Tianlei in the suburbs. The boy said to take him to Mengyun Mountain for travel. Qi Zhuahao didn't /t expect that the boy fooled him into stealing a tomb here. Hong Tianlei, you bastard. A broken map makes you obsessed with money and makes me accompany you to death. Bah! You also say that this is the tomb of old Xuanji, the ancestor of old Mr. Giguzi in the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period. It /s nonsense. Qi Zhuahao scolded repeatedly. This is Mengyun Mountain, the former residence of the legendary ancestor of Wang Zhen. There is indeed a big tomb on Mengyun Mountain, but there is nothing in the tomb. It /s okay to be fooled by Hong Tianlei to steal the tomb. There /s nothing to gain, but Hong Tianlei fell into the cave at the bottom of the tomb and nearly fell to death. Qi Zhuahao was very angry. Are you dead, you son of a bitch? You an idiot. You stole the ancient tomb wheel in the spring and autumn period and the Warring States period. Don /t think about it. The Chaotian cave is 10 meters high. I see how you climb out. Qi Zhuahao is only wearing a thin black vest. Because of long-term exercise, his body is still strong. As for his appearance, he can only be said to be average. Of course, compared with Hong Tianlei, who is a thief, he is definitely a beautiful man. Ouch! A painful chant came out. Hong Tianlei seemed to be awakened by Qi Zhuahao /s scolding. He patted his dizzy head hard, and then stood up trembling. Suddenly, he was stunned and stared at the front with a pair of triangular eyes. Zhuahao, we /v made a fortune. This should be the real tomb of old Xuanji. Look how wide the tomb path is and how long the light is. When he came back, Hong Tianlei laughed excitedly. After hearing Hong Tianlei /s words, Qi Zhuahao /s chagrin gradually became incredible. Before, he didn't /t care about the surrounding situation because of his anger and fear. Their flashlight had long disappeared, but the cave was brilliant. This is not an ordinary cave, but a real millennium ancient tomb. The 2 rows of bright lights are the best proof. Qi Zhuahao doesn't /t believe in the tomb of Xuanji old man. After all, it /s just a legend, but it /s a fact that this is an ancient tomb. His heart is no longer as upset as before, but gives birth to rich joy and expectation. If he can get 1 or 2 treasures in this ancient tomb after his poor life, then thinking of this, Qi Zhuahao quickly drank Hong Tianlei and said, Don /t be complacent. We /d better go in and have a look first. Hong Tianlei /s laughter stopped abruptly and forced the excitement in his heart. He took the lead in walking carefully towards the tomb path. There are likely to be dangers such as mechanism traps in the ancient tomb. This is common sense. Hong Tianlei, as a school captain touching gold, naturally doesn't /t need to be reminded by Qi Zhuahao. This tomb path is 3 meters high, 5 meters wide and 30 meters long. The size of the tomb is absolutely called a super curtain. Fortunately, there was no danger in the tomb passage. Qi Zhuahao followed Hong Tianlei to the entrance of the tomb. There was no tomb door here. A super large tomb about 300 meters long and 200 meters wide appeared in their eyes. With an excited glance, Hong Tianlei, who should have been very happy, suddenly sank down. Looking around, the huge tomb was empty. It can be said that there was nothing in the tomb except the bronze light on the four walls of the tomb. How is it possible that there is nothing in such a large ancient tomb? Is it possible that this tomb was ascended first? Hong Tianlei sighed to himself. He turned his head and looked at Qi Zhuahao. For a while, his eyes trembled and his steps staggered backward. At this time, Qi Zhuahao stared at the boss with clear and deep eyes, just like a ghost. Zhuahao, Zhuahao. Hong Tianlei shouted a few times, but Qi Zhuahao remained motionless and still maintained a frightened and dull look. Qi Zhuahao was shocked and frightened, because he clearly saw that there was a coffin in the middle of the tomb. It was an amethyst coffin, but the amethyst coffin was very strange and magical. It was wrapped by a dense flame. Zhuahao, what /s the matter with you? Don /t scare me. Hong Tianlei bravely walked over and pulled Qi Zhuahao /s wrist. Qi Zhuahao suddenly woke up, and his sudden sigh frightened Hong Tianlei again. Hong Tianlei retreated to the wall of the tomb passage before he breathed heavily. He patted his chest and shouted angrily. Zhuahao, what are you doing? I was scared to death. I thought you were evil, really. Qi Zhuahao didn't /t talk to Hong Tianlei, but said something that made Hong Tianlei /s hair stand up in an instant. Tianlei, look at that beautiful coffin. It /s amazing that it /s burning. Maybe there /s a treasure in it. After swallowing several mouthfuls of saliva, Hong Tianlei turned and looked into the tomb. His heart was more nervous and frightened. There was nothing in the tomb. Was there a burning coffin? Qi Zhuahao, what /s the matter? Is he really evil? Thinking of this, Hong Tianlei turned to hold Qi Zhuahao and said, Zhuahao, that /s an illusion. Don /t be afraid. We d better get out of the tomb path and find a way to leave here. Tianlei, what are you doing? I have a feeling that this is not an illusion. The fire crystal coffin is real. No, I have to go in and have a look. When Hong Tianlei /s hand was thrown away, Qi Zhuahao walked into the tomb with a cruel heart. At this time, where could he care whether there were mechanism traps in the tomb? The amethyst coffin wrapped in fire was really beautiful. There was no fear in his eyes, but only joy and excitement. Even if there was no treasure in the fire crystal coffin, the fire crystal coffin itself was absolutely valuable. As a knowledgeable senior 3 student and a civilized man, Qi Zhuahao resisted tomb theft, but since they all came to the ancient tomb, he didn't /t want to return empty-handed. There was a magical fire crystal coffin in front of him, so he had to find a way to take it away. Hong Tianlei wanted to hold Qi Zhuahao, but his reaction was still slow. With a helpless wry smile, he quickly followed up. When he saw Qi Zhuahao standing in the center of the tomb with his eyes staring at the air, his heart suddenly collapsed. It /s really weird. The amethyst coffin is obviously wrapped by the flame, but the flame doesn't /t burn it. Moreover, the flame doesn't /t seem to have a trace of temperature. Do I really have an illusion? He was very surprised in his heart. Qi Zhuahao boldly reached out and touched the fire crystal coffin. Sure enough, the dense flame around the fire crystal coffin didn't /t cause any harm to him, and his palm really touched the fire crystal coffin. This is a real amethyst coffin, not an illusion. I am really going to make a fortune. Touching the burning crystal coffin, Qi Zhuahao heart became more and more excited, and his mouth showed a bright smile. Not far behind Qi Zhuahao, Hong Tianlei breathing became heavier and heavier, and his heart became more and more afraid. What is Qi Zhuahao doing? His smile looked so scary. After a while, Hong Tianlei was excited and didn't dare to stay. He turned and ran away quickly towards the tomb path of the tomb. Hong Tianlei is sure that Qi Zhuhao is definitely evil, or even possessed by some dirty thing. At this time, he must stay away from Qi Zhuhao, or he will be in trouble. It is very likely that Qi Zhuhao will do something to hurt her. The fire crystal coffin was 3 meters long and huge. Qi Zhuhao was immersed in the miraculous beauty of the fire crystal coffin. He was completely unaware of Hong Tianlei action. He touched a 9-color lotus pattern in the center of the cover of the fire crystal coffin. He praised it again and again in his heart. This lotus has only 9 lotus petals with different colors. The color of the other 8 lotus petals is very flat. Only the fire-red lotus petals are very dark and seem to emit a faint light. At the mercy of ghosts and gods, Qi Zhuhao stretched out his hand to push the coffin cover. However, before he exerted himself, the coffin cover slid open automatically. The next moment, everything in the Huijing coffin was clearly presented in Qi Zhuhao sight, and he couldn't help feeling disappointed. There is not even a hair in such a beautiful and miraculous Huijing coffin. Shaking his head and sighing, Qi Zhuhao just wanted to restore the coffin cover, but the ground was suddenly trembling. He almost fell to the ground. With a dull noise, Qi Zhuhao grabbed the fire crystal coffin to stabilize his body, turned and looked, and his face suddenly changed. There is a broken dragon stone between the tomb chamber and the tomb passage. Well, the broken dragon stone seals the exit and can take the fire crystal coffin out. More importantly, the broken dragon stone of the ancient tomb falls, which means that everyone in the tomb has to die. For a time, anxiety, fear, unwillingness and regret filled Qi Zhuhao mind. Now it really over. The ground of the tomb shook more and more violently. Hong Tianlei scolded and slapped the broken dragon stone back and forth, trying to find a mechanism to open the broken dragon stone to escape. However, all he did was in vain. The broken dragon stone did not move, but huge stones began to fall from the top of the tomb. Tianlei, be careful, get away. Qi Zhuhao only shouted in time. He was shocked and desperate to see that Hong Tianlei was hit by a huge stone weighing several tons, and a trace of scarlet blood flowed out from under the boulder. Tianlei is dead. Qi Zhuhao mouth was wide open, and his eyes glittered with unbelievable light. Qi Zhuhao reaction was also rapid. More and more boulders fell in the tomb. Hong Tianlei was dead. He felt powerless. Now he must fight hard and try his best to avoid the impact of boulders. Suddenly, a huge stone fell on the Huijing coffin, and Qi Zhuhao was almost scared out of his wits. At the next moment, Qi Zhuhao eyes trembled. The broken fire crystal coffin he imagined did not happen. The fire crystal coffin was not only intact, but even sent out a fire-red light to shake the boulder away. The fire crystal coffin is really a treasure. Unfortunately, what to do? Qi Zhuhao returned to his mind and his mind was running rapidly. If he went on like this, he would definitely follow Hong Tianlei footsteps. He didn't want to die. Suddenly, he had an idea. Maybe this was the only chance to live. At the height of the tomb, a huge stone fell towards the place where Qi Zhuhao was. At the critical moment, Qi Zhuhao resolutely jumped into the Huijing coffin, which may help him escape the disaster. The coffin is a frightening and ominous thing. Under normal circumstances, no one wants to lie in the coffin, and so does Qi Zhuhao. Even if the Huijing coffin is exquisite and miraculous, he can care about it. However, he can care about life and death. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.